So I'm gonna start recording the meeting, okay? And then I'm going to share the screen with you. So you see here, the event I'm going to, the tutorial I'm to introduce today is, let's say scraping Yahoo Finance data and also Google Trends data. And then finally, the third step, we conduct, time series analysis with R and R Studio, okay? Again, thank you for coming. So I think my plans, let's say I'm going to finish my workshop, probably this introduction in like, 5 to 10 minutes, or maybe around 8 minutes. And then I will start, doing the analysis in around, let's say, 10 minutes. So altogether, we finish everything probably in 25 minutes. And then, if you have any questions, please, keep those questions at the end, or maybe, please send me any chat message so I'm going to answer all of your questions at the end. Okay. Again, thank you for coming. So first on, let's say, again, so if you ever attended the event in the past, you understand, this is hands-on workshop. So you are going to work on something, especially if you want to use this for extra credits, please make sure you try to follow me. If you could not follow me at this stage, I would suggest that you actually watch the cloud recordings later on, because, I think this is not something, you are going to learn it for the exam or for the, project. This is something you can use for your personal investment strategies, or you can use it, for your future work, okay, for your career. So again, welcome. So thank you for joining me. So I think first, let's say I want to say that, I try to let my attendees know that, it's not necessarily analytical software. It's actually, let's say now used by many companies, so they're using R for doing performing data analytics on a regular basis. So basically, see here, big companies, small companies, let's say, companies in the banking industry, companies in the insurance industry, companies in the, in the real estate industry, and including KPMG, some bigger brands, right? So again, thank you for joining me. So again, if you missed the first section, I was just trying to introduce the name of the event. So basically, we are going to scrap, Yahoo Finance data and Google Trends data, in around a few minutes. And then finally, we are also going to conduct, time series analysis and generate some beautiful, pictures using R and R Studio. And everything is going to be for free. And if you are here for extra credits, you may want to follow me and, do the analysis and then finally create a report using R Studio. But, if you are here for, for fun, I think you can probably just watch and see what I'm doing, and also how you can use this skill to, let's say, take your skill to, probably help you find your next, career. Okay. So I think, again, I to introduce a number of companies which use R Studio on a regular basis. And see here, big, small companies, medium-sized companies from, every industry, right? Every industry. So now, we probably wonder, okay, so how to actually get data from Yahoo Finance. So that being said, again, so I think, this is probably something new, because this package was developed by statisticians, and the package was only developed last October. So it's something new, but, I still want to say that, you see here, this company which named the Lemon Markets. So I'm going to paste, let's say the page here. So this company which named the Lemon Markets is already using quant mode to analyze, to analyze financial data, okay, to analyze financial data. So that being said, again, so if you want to read this document, it really shows you some of the ins and outs, how this company is using quant mode to actually do financial consortium, probably financial investment, okay? And then, let's say, again, finally, by the end of today's tutorial, you are going to create your own report. So again, if you never heard about Lemon Markets, you see here, this is a financial investment company. So they do trading and also ETFs, okay, using APIs, okay? So, and they use quant mode and R, right? So by the end of today's session, this is your takeaway, okay? This is going to be your takeaway. So hopefully you are going to create a report. Definitely, first step, you scrap data. Web scrapping means, you are going to capture data using software programs, okay, automatically. So, imagine if you want to do it, manually, it's going to be extremely tedious, right? So that means, you see here, this is the title, and this is going to be your takeaway from today's class, okay? Your takeaway from today's class, okay? So now let me come back to the slides. So see here, let's say first, let's say, I also want to show you that, you can use ChatGPT to create some of the syntax I'm going to use, okay? So for example, this is a, tweet I actually created, let's say a few days ago. And I want to show you my thought process. So, at the end of the day, maybe you may consider replicating some of the work I'm doing on your own, right? On your own. So you see here, in particular, I mentioned, ChatGPT can help you create some syntax for the purpose of creating a, ggplot. A ggplot is actually, a package that is used to create, beautiful visualizations in the R environment. Okay, so you see, I asked, ChatGPT a question, how to write a syntax for a scatter plot. So this is the result. And then, if you want to pay attention to my syntax of probably final result, you see here, let's say this is exactly the case, right? So you see, it's a chart with blue, blue dots. And here, let's say scatter plot A and B, right? So variable A versus variable B. So, you see here, this is original ChatGPT, original ChatGPT syntax, right? So ChatGPT says, you can use this title, and then, you just do some minor changes, right? Variable 1, what is variable 1? What is variable 2? And then, you use this syntax. But finally, I did some modifications or revisions because I want to make my picture more visually appealing, right? So I did minor revisions because ChatGPT can only probably help you for very basic stuff, okay? Very basic stuff. So that's probably part of my thought process. And it's not a linear process because, you are going to have struggles and sometimes challenges. So the goal is to see how you can solve these challenges using critical thinking skills, okay? So that being said, this is what we'll be covering today during this meetup session. So first, let's say, again, first, let's say, if you can just refresh your memory a little bit, we covered, let's say, why business professionals need to use R. It's because, Excel is okay, but unfortunately, Excel doesn't allow you to do data scraping. Excel doesn't allow you to do data reporting in a professional manner. Also, Excel could not handle big data, okay, big data. So finally, also, Excel could not help you perform data scraping easily, okay? So that's why, let's say, I think here, it's just so important, as a business professional, you may want to learn this skill because the companies are looking for candidates who have these kind of skills, especially if they're working in the banking industry. Let's say, you want to know the stock price, they go up or down, and the long-term trends, short-term trends, or maybe some other, factors, right? So you cannot do data scraping using, these packages easily. So, and then, we will set up our environment in the cloud, and it's going to be for free. As long as you have your personal email account, we will be able to do this for free. And then, we are going to store these packages or libraries, so which is also going to be for free. Next step, we are going to scrap historical Yahoo Finance data. So at this stage, you don't need to know, let's say, HTML coding. And because, let's say when we use packages like a quantum mode, somebody already did the dirty work for you, right? So, the process, is like a seamless. So you install package, as in read a package, a library, and then you can scrap data, in that 3-line syntax, okay? And then, next one, clean and transform data. And then next one, we also use R to scrap, Google Trends data, okay? Google Trends data. And then finally, we merge both, Yahoo Finance data and Google Trends data together using R. So now imagine if you use Excel, it's okay, but unfortunately, it could be extremely tedious because, you understand Google Trends data, is going to be daily data. And then Yahoo Finance, let's say, if you think about Yahoo Finance, nobody's going to do any trading on Saturdays and Sundays. But for Google Trends data, because, I mentioned it's daily data, so we still have, let's say, data during weekend. So challenge is that, imagine if you use Excel, now you need to figure out a way to strategically combine or merge these two groups of data sets, which can be extremely challenging. So now, we can do everything automatically because of so many awesome packages. So it's time saver. So now number 8, we prepare data for the analysis. And finally, we do the analysis, okay? Identify some trends or probably some patterns, okay? So again, if you, I can send you this short slides, yeah, let me reshare with the slides in case, in case you did not see my slides at the beginning, okay? So again, and then, let's say also I'm going to send you my syntax. And so, let's say you can later on, let's say when I start the tutorial, you can pretty much follow me. Again, so this is something, any person, individual investor could use, okay? So because, Lemon Markets, you see here, the company introduced is using quant mode or performing, let's say, using quant mode to perform, complex financial analysis. And so that being said, if they could do it, you could do it. I think my motivation is based on, some people who actually perform, let's say, financial investment analysis using Python. And I think I find, let's say, similar packages available in R could do the same thing. Because, in Python, I think it's okay, but, Python is not necessarily the best data analytics, software. So I think R is better in terms, data analysis. So I might prefer software that are. So now let's summarize. This is a hands-on workshop. So that means, hopefully your takeaway is that, by the end of the workshop, you can do the same analysis in a matter of 5 to 10 minutes. In a matter of 5 to 10 minutes, you will understand the basic workflow, how to use R to scrap data, first step, maybe installing packages and then analyze data. Finally, the third step, and finally, the final step is, let's say, how to report, your results, or probably report your conclusions and trends, probably figures, graphs, tables using R and R Studio. So I don't want to say I'm teaching you probably showing you how to do programming, because programming is actually, a different type of skill. So at this stage, we just want to show you how to understand some of the basic, libraries or probably functions, or maybe some very basic functions. So you can probably replicate my project in a different context. So let's say, in our analysis, I'm going to show you how to analyze the stock price for Amazon, but you can do it for probably a different company, Tesla, right? You can probably do it for, let's say, Apple, probably Google. So, and then, the goal is to make sure, let's say you know what you are doing, and you know how to replicate the analysis, in a straightforward manner. Okay. So now let's get started. Again, this is now the hands-on part, and I want to make sure I consider your time. And so that means that it's already 4:25, and let me try to get started. So you see, I already sent you the syntax in the chat, and see name the web scraping txt.txt. This is hosted in my personal GitHub website. Okay, my personal GitHub website. So now, I'm going to actually search R Studio Cloud. If you never use R Studio Cloud, you can Google search, and this is something that's extremely useful, and also it's free. You don't need to pay any fees as long as you have personal Gmail account or email account. Okay. So you see first result. If you never use it before, sign up. in a matter of, 5 seconds, or probably, 10 seconds. If you use it before, excellent. So we can start this workshop immediately. So you see, I click the first result because I use it multiple times this week. So I have my own account, right? So now I'm going to click the first one. But if you did not log in, make sure you sign up first. And once you sign up, you have two different solutions. First, you can log in with Google. Second one, you can log in with GitHub. GitHub is a website, here, so you can store your your syntax, your code, or whatever your workflow. Okay, so here I'm just going to log in with Google. You see here, once you sign up, please make sure you click on log in with Google. I think that's the easiest option. Okay, so you see, now there's the other authorization process. I'm click my username, and then the first option. Okay, POSIX Cloud. We are just going to create a simple a simple let's say report for the stock price of Amazon. Okay, so now you see, now the following step, we are going to actually click a new project, and then the first option, new RStudio project. If you want to do Jupyter project, that's going to be for pass on your users, right? So we are into new RStudio project. And then you see my work environment is going to be ready momentarily. Okay, so now I'm going to actually come back to my GitHub page. So I already sent you the GitHub link in the chat. So once you click the link, copy it to your browser, and then you see you can copy the syntax, right? You can copy my syntax, and then paste it to your, and then make it ready so you can paste it to the work environment later on. Okay, so you see I'm highlighting from the first line. You see line 1. So you see here, this is well designed for programmers. Line 1 to the last line. Okay, do not copy the whole page. You want to make sure just just copy the syntax. Okay, do not copy the web page. Copy from line 1 to the last line. Okay, so now you see my work environment is ready, but do not copy and paste it here. It's not going to work. So the standard workflow will be like this. First, you click a file, and then you click a new file, and then we see a drop-down menu. In this drop-down menu, you are going to see more than 20 options. If you are, Python user, probably HTML user, probably other users, you can do all of these programming tasks here. Since we are doing to use R, so we are just going to use R Markdown to create HTML document. Okay, we click R Markdown at this stage, and R Markdown actually allows you to create a beautiful report that that could be published on the website. So see, in order to create this R Markdown document or HTML document, we need to install these packages. So now we do everything in once. Okay, we do everything all in once. So including data scraping, data analysis, and data reporting. So finally, when I finish everything, I'm going to give you a probably 2-minute wrap up. So we probably try to understand some of the functions, probably some of the packages you'll be using for your next project, either your personal investment project or your professional project. Okay, your professional project. You see, depending on your internet speed, it may take again, so probably 20 seconds. So I think I'm done. So I click OK. So at this stage, I just use the default option because, default option means, we are going to try to create something based on, the syntax provided, on my GitHub website. So this default option really doesn't say anything at this stage, but you can still generate a report, right? And this is the default option for generating a sample report, R Markdown, okay? But here we are going to, clear the content from line 1 to line 30 in this workspace. So we can start pasting the syntax I just copied from this page, my GitHub page. I'm going to paste it here. So I think, again, if you are not following me, don't be worried. So I think we can talk about it, after my tutorial. So, or maybe, if you just want to stop me, that's fine as well. So you see now, let's say you keep these quotation marks, author name. So maybe just put your name here, but keep the quotation mark. So maybe your name, let's say, let's use, probably, Tim Scott, right? Let's, imagine you are going to use Tim Scott. Your name's Tim Scott. And, let's say change the date, keep the quotation mark, and use, probably February 28, right? 2023. And then nice. We are almost there. Congratulations. Now you see, now the next step is to make sure you save the document, because, this is the document you will be using to scrap data, doing the analysis, and finally create a report. I save it. I just give number 1 because, this name will not be published on the web page. Okay, so I give number 1. And then you see the next step. It shows that, the environment create a, let's say pop-up window. It shows that, do you want to install these packages? I click yes, right? And then, I'm going to install these packages to my working environment. So it allows me to perform, some complex analysis without writing syntax like C or C# or C++. Okay, because, if you ever use, any of those languages, you understand, it can be a little bit harder to learn, especially if you are not computer science major, if you do not have computer science background. But at this stage, I think R is really for general user. R is for a regular person like you and me, okay? So it's for everybody. It's such an inclusive, software environment which allows everybody to be creative, okay? So, and so at this stage, I think we are almost ready. But, again, if you're not following me, don't be worried. I think I'll try to help you at the end. So I think, let's say we are almost there. We are almost there. So you see now we are installing these packages. And then, last step, I'm going to click, the need button. It's like, a needle in a yarn ball, right? A needle in a yarn ball. So I'm going to click the need button. So I want to, need means, want to create something, create HTML document. So I click the button, need HTML document, and then there'll be a pop-up window, which shows you the report magically. Or maybe, the report is, or the page is not showing yet. So you may want to just, unblock your pop-up windows. You can, you can see this pop-up page, okay? So otherwise, you see here, let's say, you should be able to see a new page which pops up from your browser. And you can now publish this new page in 1 minute, okay? So let's click publish. Once you click publish, you want to install these packages again, always click yes or okay, because you are using the services for free. Again, so now probably just a little bit more background. We click RPubs. So our studio is also part of Microsoft. And now we click, publish. And now you see the pop-up window again. And now, it takes you back to your browser. And now, if you are first-time user, you want to create an account, it should take you probably, let's say 30 seconds to sign up or creating an account. So I already have an account. I'm just going to sign up. Oh, no, I'm just going to log in. I also saved my password. Let's click sign in. And then you see here, it's going to ask me the name. So I think, you can probably copy the original document name, maybe, meetup event and today's date, right? February 28, 2023. So, if you want to name it, you can probably just use, the last part HTML address, maybe you just use meetup, right? Use meetup, make it easy, make your job easier, okay? And maybe Google Trends or finance or whatever. So you can add a description at this stage, it's not required. So we click continue. Now, congratulations. We finished this analysis in a matter of, let's say 3 or 5 minutes. Now I'm going to give you an overview in around 3 to 5 minutes. And then, I'm going to let you guys ask me any questions you have. Again, thank you for taking your time. And, so let me go over some of these steps. At this stage, you understand the first step, we do data scraping. When we do data scraping, we do not start from scratch, because if you start from scratch, it's going to be extremely, complex. We need to understand what HTML language is, how to understand, how to do a little bit of HTML coding, and then, how to deconstruct, web page. But at this stage, since we are using quant mode package, and we are also using Google Trends R package, so we can save time. We can use 3 lines of syntax to do this data scraping thing. Okay, so and then, let's say finally we do the analysis, create beautiful plots. Okay, so now I want to show you my thought process at this stage. When I show you my thought process, I mean, let's say how I develop this report or this, this project, and then, how you could actually replicate the same thing on your own. First step, you see here when I write a syntax, I include a text chunk. Okay, what we are doing today, the text chunk. And then here, let's say also the first step, you probably noticed when it's published, this part of syntax actually now doesn't show up, right? The second part. That being said, this part of syntax after this forward ticker, and also R equals to false. That being said, we don't want to publish the syntax. And here, the first step, we read, up to 5 or 6 packages that we are using in this workflow. And so we can save our time. We don't need to understand C or C#. So we can, write syntax everybody could understand. So now you see here, my original thought process. I also have my working directory when I was doing the analysis using my desktop version of R. And then, I get symbols. Symbols means tickers, stock tickers. Amazon going to be AMZN. And similarly, let's say if you do, let's say Yahoo Finance search, you can always find the tickers for other stocks, right? So I'm going to do 3 more minutes, and I want to make sure I finish this on time. So you see, now imagine if I want to do Tesla, it's going to be TSLA, right? It's not going to be Tesla, it's going to be TSLA. This is the stock ticker. So now imagine if you just want to save your time, you can probably copy my document to a TXT file, or maybe Word document, and then replace AMZN with, let's say, with, whichever stock you are interested in, right? Maybe TLSA, if it's Tesla. And then, we are going to analyze the stock price for the last 5 years, right? System generated date is going to be today, from that date to today, right? And then, let's say here we rename the data set as a data frame. And then, let's say here, we actually analyze Amazon stock price with Google Trends data. We already finished scraping Yahoo Finance data in, let's say, 5 or 6 line syntax, and then also clean the data, right? Clean the data. Now we are going to scrap, Yahoo Finance, Google Trends data with this package, gtrends-r, and then, we are going to scrap, the Google Trends data using the keyword e-commerce, right? Because we understand Amazon's e-commerce company. We want to see, if we can find any association between people search trends on e-commerce, and then with the stock price performance, right? So you see here, finally we clean data, we manipulate data, right? And we actually use DeeplyR package, right? If you never heard about DeeplyR, Google search, it's so useful for data manipulation. But at this stage, you just want to know that this percentage signs, with square parentheses, this means, we are doing, let's say, we are doing DeeplyR we are using DeeplyR package to manipulate data. So also we are using dplyr package to manipulate Google Trends data. And then finally, next step, we merge these two different data sets, right? We merge stock data and Google Trends data. And then we create a stock, we create a stock, we create an Excel spreadsheet. It's named stock.csv. So we can download it in case we want to save it, or in case we want to do any time series analysis using Excel. And then finally, we do time series analysis or probably regression analysis. We use number of hits to predict closing price of stocks. And at the end of this, we also do a summary so we can get, the graph. We can get, the regression equations, the coefficients. Finally, we do some ggplots, or probably, we just want to draw some plots. Now, let me re-show you my thought process, because this is exactly ChatGPT functions I used. Exactly the same thing. The only thing I've changed are the variable names. Okay, are the variable names. So finally, I created the graph using this package because I want to show the ggplot in a better way. Okay, so you see here, finally, this ggplot is very much better because you can see your regression equation, the trend line, and all of the scatter plots. Okay, and then also R square. Okay, so that's it. And I would like to thank you for coming to my meetup session. I think again, so I'm going to stop recording the meeting, and in case you have any questions, again, thank you for your time.